Welcome to Golden Age Shooting Academy. Your journey in becoming a professional shooter or a hobby shooter begins here. Before we learn about how to use these weapons to shooting the targets, what we will learn is we learn about all the equipment and the parts of the gun before we start. So there are two different weapons that we use in 10 meters shooting. One is the air pistol, which is shot in one hand. Next is the air rifle, which we use the entire body to shoot. So both have different target sizes. So this smaller rifle target is what we use, and for pistols we use slightly bigger targets. We'll now learn the parts of the gun. Starting from the front end of the gun, the front end of the barrel is called as the muzzle. On top of the muzzle we have our front sight. So this is barrel stretching down the loading area. This in the bottom you see is the cylinder, which has compressed air inside. In the loading area we load the pellet and we fire. This is your rear sight. This is the palm plate, which sits in the palm. This is your trigger guard, protecting the trigger from accidental fires. This is your trigger. This is your loading lever. This is the grip where we hold the gun. This is the stock which holds the gun together. The whole portion, what you see, what is holding the gun together is the stock. This is the cheek piece where we place our cheek to aim to look through the rear sight. And this is the butt plate of the gun which goes into the shoulder. So these are the parts of rifle. Now we'll get to the parts of the pistol. In pistol, similarly, we have the cylinder at the bottom, barrel in the top. Front sight is this block of metal you see. This is the loading area. This is the loading lever, trigger guard, trigger. This is the safety lock. This is your rear sight. This is the grip. And we shoot it one-handed. You see the red wire extending out of the barrel from both sides, and you'll see the orange wire. Okay, these are safety flags. Safety flag is an absolutely essential part of shooting to ensure that when we are carrying the gun inside a shooting range, especially during training or competitions, that we carry the gun in an unloaded condition. The only way to ensure that the gun is unloaded is to put a safety flag through the barrel from the front end to the rear end, or from rear end to the front end, and pull the safety flag out. So we are 100% sure that the gun is safe to use in all conditions, and it is safe to take it to the lane from the box. To fill every cylinder, there is an adapter. Each adapter is unique to the cylinder or the brand of the gun and the model. Then the other accessories that we use, or which is necessary for shooting, is while shooting, this is a blinder. So this is to reduce the stress load on the left eye if I am a right-handed shooter, or if I am a left-handed shooter, to reduce the stress on the right eye. Okay, so what we do is place it on the left-hand side and then look through the rear sight for the front sight, so I can keep my left eye open. Without squinting my left eye, I'll be able to comfortably aim. That's the purpose of the blinder. In pistol, we cannot fix a blinder, so we use an external blinder which comes with a band, and we place it exactly in front of the pupil of the left eye so that I can aim with single eye, and this has no other purpose other than just avoiding squinting of the left eye. Contrary to what a lot of people think, the purpose of the stand is not to support while shooting, it is to support after the shot is done, only for the purpose of helping in the reload. Generally, the stand is set to the shoulder height. The next equipment which we use every day in the range is our paper target carrying machine. So what it does, we fix the paper target into these springs and then press and hold the forward button to carry the target down the range. After we take a shot at the target, then we press and hold the reverse button to get the target back and look where we have shot. Next is the pellets that we use to shoot. These are 4.5 millimeter or 0.177 caliber. So what is 0.177 caliber? It is nothing but the diameter of these pellets or diameter of the barrel of the guns we use here in inches. So it is 0.177 of an inch or 4.5 millimeters. The weight of these pellets is somewhere between 0.45 grams to 0.53 grams. And this is the tin which we use to store the pellets. This is a 10-meter air rifle and air pistol shooting range. That means every single weapon we use is based on air technology. So here, every air weapon used is of 0.177 caliber or 4.5 millimeter. As explained, 0.177 is the caliber of the gun, and 0.177 air rifles is exempted from any form of licensing, and you do not require a license to own these guns nor use them. But at the same time, if you misuse the gun, you are still punished under the Arms Act. Before you start a session, you have to take the gun towards the shooting range. So while carrying, ensure that the safety tag is taken off and left off on the hook. Carry the safe gun and point it upwards and walk towards your lane. Place the gun on table and then you're free to do rest of the activities. After you're done with your session, ensure you check there is no pellet in the barrel, for which you can do a fire while pointing the gun towards the lane, and then open the bolt, insert safety flag all the way inside, and then carry the gun again pointing upwards to the storage area, and then place the gun in the storage and then reinsert the safety tag, which ensures that the gun is unloaded and safe to use for the next session, and for the next shooter it is safe. As a pistol shooter, while you are packing your gun, ensure that you put the pellets in and then remove the safety flag while pointing the barrel towards the range or in the safe direction, and then ensure there is no pellet in the barrel. Put the gun on safety mode, place it inside the box, whatever accessories you need to put it in, store it, close the box and fix the safety flag so that it ensures that the gun is safe and ready for the next session. Now we will learn the safety commands that are commonly used in shooting range. The most commonly used command in the shooting range is the command ceasefire. Before we issue a ceasefire command, when the range is occupied, we always ensure that the shooters already occupying the lane have not loaded the gun. So before we issue a ceasefire command, we always check with a command of last shot. So right now we can see last shot.
My gun is loaded, sir.
So whenever the gun is loaded, the shooter always raises his hand and informs the range officer that his gun is loaded. So the range officer informs the shooter to continue to finish his shot, or you have a chance of discharging the pellet onto the wood. So shooter has discharged. Now we can issue a ceasefire command that now that we have ensured all the guns are unloaded. Ceasefire. So when a ceasefire command is given, the responsibility of the shooter is to leave the gun on the table, put the safety flag inside the barrel, and then step back. There are a number of reasons why we give a ceasefire command. Maybe we want to check the targets, or something has fallen inside which we need to retrieve. So because of which ceasefire command is given, and once the ceasefire command is given and the job is done, the shooters will not commence shooting unless commence fire command is given. Commence fire. So the range officer should ensure that every command is loud and clear throughout the range. It is not only for one person, it has to be heard throughout the range. Next, we have the compressed air cylinder, which we use to fill air into the guns. So these are the same cylinders that are used in marine industry, and the air that we use is same what is used by deep sea divers or the fire safety personnel, and it is compressed air and is not any other form, or it is not oxygen, it is compressed air. Most of the guns that we use operate in different pressures. So majority of the guns fall into the 200 bar pressure. As you see here, this is a 300 bar cylinder and there is a 200 bar cylinder. So whenever we use guns, we have to ensure that we are not exceeding the cylinder capacity while using on these cylinders to fill. If the gun is 300 bar cylinder, then we can use this. If the gun has a 300 bar cylinder, we can definitely use a 200 bar cylinder. But if the gun has a 200 bar cylinder, we should never use it on a 300 bar cylinder. You would have seen a lot of rifle shooters wearing very thick and stiff jackets and trousers, which are these. Why do we need this level of thickness and this level of stiffness? It is because as shooters, we stand in a very awkward position. Something like this while shooting. So the left elbow is taking support on the hip. The entire weight of the gun is passing through the elbow to the hip and to the floor. So what happens in this position is there is severe load on the back, neck and the spine region, including the hip. To reduce the load and to avoid any possible injuries from overextension, we need this stiff jacket and trouser, and this has no other safety purpose or threat from somebody shooting. Rifle shooters wear a unique kind of shoes which are not usable on your daily purposes. So these shoes are purposefully made and follow very stringent rules. Similarly, the jacket and trouser also has very stringent rules as to the overlapping and the distance of buttons, thickness, stiffness of material. Everything is checked before competitions so that any other shooter does not have an undue advantage over any shooter. Before every single session, we expect a shooter to do proper warm-up. After the session, certain stretches to cool down and to ensure your body is always working optimally. One of the most commonly used technique to improve your shooting is dry fire. When I say dry fire, it is basically shooting the gun or practicing shooting without actually loading the gun with a pellet. So each gun comes with a safety mechanism, which is here in this case. So when we load the gun and squeeze the trigger, the gun will not fire the air out, rather it will just engage the trigger. So this is a good technique to use to practice. This technique helps you build confidence as well as a lot of strength into your shooting. So there are certain rules that you need to follow when you are using the dry fire area. Always use the designated dry fire area and not any other area in the shooting range. So this here we have a designated shooting area. While practicing in dry fire area, you have to ensure that the gun is always pointed towards the safe direction, which is the wall. Okay, at no point of time, even for loading the gun. So if you want to load the gun has to still be in this direction. You have to turn, load the gun, and then practice your dry fire. For some reason, you want to turn and you need a better gripping. So what you're supposed to do is actually turn the other side, get your gripping proper, and then turn back and do your practice. So at no point of time you're pointing the muzzle left or right. Okay, don't turn the gun left or right. Same rule applies even when you are in the shooting lane. So you want to practice gripping or get the grip right. Get the grip right in safe direction and you turn your body. Don't turn the gun and then get your grip right. Okay, this way and then turn and then practice shooting. We wish you a wonderful start to your shooting career, whether it's hobby shooting or professional shooting. We are here to help you.